to the music. It could be bumpy, it could be smooth. Don't stop for shit, just keep doing you. Ain't nothing niggas say to you. Ain't nothing to it.
So I made mention of more ghost stories that I had. So you all heard about the full-bodied apparition in England at Arill0. So now I have two. I'm just gonna go. I'm fucking tired. I don't want to wait. Now I have two to tell you. So Gunfighter Motovlogs and I used to work in the same place. Different jobs, but the same place. And even he has made mention of, he has some stories to tell about this place that we worked together. So this place was built back in the 50s by Navy Seabees. And it's seen its fair share of action. Come on. And with that being said, it's seen its fair share of people coming through too. And these guys used to, way back in the day, they used to have to pull like 48-hour shifts and 24 off and another 48 and all that, just depending on what was going on in the world at that time. So you can tell, I mean, there's lots and lots of things happened up there. And I know for a fact that there has been quite a few deaths up there as well. So one night, I'll give you two stories from up there. So one night, me and my boss, it's about 10:30 at night, we're sitting in the back with all of our equipment, and we had a TV back there, and that's kind of just where him and I would hang out and watch TV or movies or whatever. And we were watching a TV series, and it's quiet, and then all of a sudden, the shredder next to us turns on. It was that loud, and that was how hard it kicked over. It was like, what the fuck? Now you're thinking, okay, so what? Well, the thing with this shredder, particularly with this shredder, it wasn't one of those automatic ones that maybe a piece of paper was in the sensor still and it just turned itself on. No. This one you had to physically push a button in to turn it on and push a button off to turn it off, okay? Green and a red button, respectively. So we kind of look at each other and we're like, what the fuck? And we look next to us and we're like right behind us, and sure enough, this shredder that's been off for hours, since 3 p.m. when I came on shift, and we were back there watching one of those TV series for that long, and it had been turned off that entire time, and then all of a sudden now it's turned on. The green button pushed in. Don looks at me. He looks back at it. He turns it off. He looks back at me. We both kind of just shrugged. We're like, I fucking went back to watching the TV show. Then, an hour later, it happens again. Green button pushed in. Thing turns on. We turn it off again. Then I say out loud, okay, quit fucking around. Never happened again through the rest of the night. Well, I don't know about that, guys. We got off shift at 11:30. So this is really probably around 11 o'clock that it went off the second time. We didn't even say anything, though, to the oncoming crew. We just packed up our shit, sat, waited for the other guys to come. One guy would come normally about 11:10, 11:15, and we would play cards for about 15 minutes. Never happened again, though, for the rest of the time it was there. And it was only Dawn and I on shift. There was nobody else in the office with us. So Pretty crazy, that one. Then another one was I was actually covering a mid-shift. So 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. for a guy who was on vacation. We had plenty of guys on my shift that could cover me, so I rotated down just while he was on the vacation. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I gotta take a shit, right? So I'm like, all right, fuck it. And now at that time at night, there is nobody on my side of the building. So I know that the bathroom that I would normally go to, I don't need to, because nobody else is going to come in and interrupt me while I'm taking a shit. So I'm in there doing my business, kind of reading a magazine, you know. And you know, American bathrooms, we have those huge gaps in the door so you could kind of see out, you know. So I'm sitting there minding my own business, doing my thing, when I hear the door to the bathroom open up. I was wondering if that was my sister-in-law. It's not. And I was like, what the fuck? Who's coming in this late at night? Well, maybe it's one of the other guys I'm on shift with. And I don't hear any like footsteps though. I just hear the door open, and I'm like, all right, somebody's fucking with me now. And nobody like walked past the mirror either. So I was like, okay. Like, well, yeah, these guys are definitely trying to fuck with me. They already know about the shredder story. Because this is like 2 years later from that. So I just kind of go back to reading. Then the stall door next to me opens up and slams shut. And I'm like, what the fuck? So you hear it like hit my stall, and then it slams and hits like it was shutting. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? You know, so again, like I look in the mirror, like maybe I just didn't hear him, you know? Maybe he has sneakers on or something, it's not combat boots. And I'm like trying to look, I'm like, what the fuck? I can't see fucking anybody. So I fucking pinch it off, flush toilet, I go out, I wash my hands, and then I kind of notice that the door is ajar. And I'm like, alright. And I'm not noticing any feet underneath it. So I'm sitting there like, okay, somebody's on the fucking, standing on the toilet, they're gonna try to scare me. So I go and I kick the door open, and of course it kicks and it shuts, and then it kind of opens back up again. And there is nobody in that toilet seat. It was like another moment of, fuck this shit. And I was out. I mean, I just fucking sprinted out of the door, out of the bathroom, back into my office, and just kind of like sat there stunned for a little bit in the day room area. The other two guys were in the back watching TV. And then when I collected my thoughts and shit, I just kind of went back there, and I didn't say anything until I got back onto my normal shift, which at that time was days. So when I got back onto days, I told them what happened, and they're all laughing at me. I'm like, it's not fucking funny, man. That shit is scary. I'm never fucking working a mid-shift and taking a shit in this place again. So, and then you would always see those ghost steps, you know, legs round in a corner, like the exact same shit I saw in England. It was some creepy shit up there, man. Some creepy shit. So, the big story that Super B wants to hear. So let me give you a little background on this. So we had a couple of friends of the family that their mother or grandmother had passed away, and so they were selling stuff from their estates, and we got a few things from the estates. few things for free. You know, you can't beat free. So I got this nice roll top desk. Ended up, you know, letting my wife use that in the office for her scrapbook and stuff. And then we got a curio cabinet from another gentleman. Older gentleman, he's in his 60s, and his mother passed away. So she had to be, you know, late 80s, I think. And the first estate sale that we got the desk from, that one was 93. So then we just kind of, that was over the summer, and then in the winter, in fact, this month, November, my daughter was born. And so we were all getting ready for that stuff and used to it. And we also got some plants from the 93-year-old that passed away. She was a heavy chain smoker, okay? So I was on mids when my daughter was born, and so I took a couple of weeks off, helped my wife, and then went back to work. So I was staying up all night. And I'm sitting there. Now, we've had this plant for maybe 8 months now, okay? So it was before the summer, obviously. But when we first got them, they just reeked of cigarette smoke, you know? And eventually they stopped. They stopped smelling it. And one night, my daughter was crying. And my wife was sleeping, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll go get her, you know? So I'm sitting upstairs. Now, all the plants we have of this lady are downstairs, right? So I'm sitting upstairs with my daughter, you know, rocking her back to sleep. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this huge, overwhelming, powerful smell of cigarette smoke just comes. Now, you heard that I smoked in the England story, but I haven't smoked since I got out of active duty in 2004. I occasionally smoke cigars, but at this time I wasn't. So there is zero reason for cigarette smoke to be in our house, especially now that the plants are gone, right? Or now that the plants have acclimated to us and they don't even smell anymore. But I mean, this was overpowering, and you could tell it was cigarette smoke and not pipe smoke or cigar smoke. And so I'm just sitting there smelling this, and it's just around her, my baby and I. And so I finally just look up, and I'm like, we called this lady Graham. And I'm like, Graham, is that you? Are you here? Are you trying to see the baby? You know, I get this little cool breeze, and then the cigarette smoke is gone. And so I was all like, yep, that was Graham. That had to have been her. She was taking a look. Her spirit was kind of still around. Yeah, she was just taking a look at the baby. And now I've never, ever smelt that smoke again. So, never smelt that smoke again. Now, I also told you that I like to watch, or I used to like to watch, all of those ghost adventures and ghost hunters and all that. So, we bought this big entertainment center that kind of like surrounds our TV, and that we could put our daughter's toys in. And so she has like a lot of those electronic toys. And we would always make sure every night to turn off all the electronic toys, or actually after every use. So one night we put the baby to bed, and we're sitting out there, and we're watching the show. And during Ghost Adventures, they like to do a lot of like EVPs and stuff, which is an electronic voice phenomenon where they ask questions and have a recorder. And yeah, come on, man. And everybody, you know, they'll sit there and play it back. But of course they ask the questions out loud and everything. And so they were trying to communicate with a spirit that was known to be a friendly spirit. And so they were just asking questions, all right? And this is going on for about like 10 minutes in the show. So finally, like, they ask it again, you know, because you always want to try to reprove that you did something. So if you say, hey, if you're here, make a noise, and somebody makes noise. Like, I appreciate you making that noise. You know, just to confirm, could you really make that noise again, please? And then the same noise will happen, or another noise, you know. So that's what they do. They asked the spirit, you know, if you are really here with us, can you please give us a sign that you are here, right? As soon as he is done saying that, one of my daughter's little toys was this little bear that you could press its hand and it would say paw, or, you know, squeeze it and say, I love you. That's what it does. It says, give us a sign that you are here. As soon as they're finished saying here, this dog that's over on the shelves about 20 feet away from the couch where my wife and I are sitting goes, I love you. Like, what the fuck is that? And so my wife looks at me, she's like, what the fuck is happening? And so on the TV, again, they go, thank you, we're so glad that that you're communicating with us, right? As soon as they're done saying communicating with us, the dog goes, give me a hug. Oh man, I was like, what the hell? My wife too, she's like, oh my god, turn it off. Go over there, make sure. I was like, it's off. It's been off. So I go over there, and on its foot, on one of its foot paws there, like, is the off button. So I press it, it doesn't say anything. I press it again, it doesn't say anything. So I press the heart button on its chest, and it says, I love you. And then I press the foot button again, and it goes, goodbye. Now this damn toy did that 3 more times on its own in the middle of the night while watching like Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters or one of like a haunting or something like that. This fucking thing decides to start talking on us. Finally, I just packed it up. Like, she got old enough that she didn't really need to use it again. So I packed it up on her, put it away, and that's it. Like, we haven't heard anything from this fucking doll again, because it's packed away inside a box that's kind of still sitting out in our loft area. But I also had stopped watching Ghost Adventures at that time. So, and even after I stopped watching Ghost Adventures, like, my daughter was having some problems sleeping for a little bit. When I stopped watching that, she started sleeping like just perfectly fine too. So I'm telling you guys, man, lots of crazy shit happens around me, man. So I got more. I have plenty of more, but we'll keep this episode for the Friday the 13th episode. So there you go, a couple ghost stories for you, a couple weird, unexplained, paranormal shit, and shit happening while you're taking the shit. So, alright guys, well, I'm getting close to work. I gotta prepare for a fucking cold ride in the morning too. So, have fun and enjoy the ride.